Hello friend, welcome back to my channel, I'm Mim. In my last video, I talked about a case that happened in Sydney. Today, I'd bring you a case that took place in Thailand. This case is super well known in China and has even been turned into a movie. While the movie may not be exceptionally well crafted and lacks logical coherence, the actual case it portrays is undeniably intriguing. Every single detail reflects the different challenges that people nowadays might encounter when living in a foreign country. Wang Nuan Nuan is the nickname picked by the victim who went through this really tough event. And the name is all about spreading warmth, growing, and living with a positive attitude. So in today's story, I will keep calling her by this cool nickname she chose for herself. And without further ado, let's get into it and I will explain it to you bit by bit. So our protagonist for the day, Wang Nuan Nuan. She is born in 1987 and in around 2015, she decided to quit her boring old job in China. A girl in her 28, she dropped everything and moved to a foreign land to start a new life. What immense bravery one must have to do such thing. With all her stuff and savings, she went on this crazy adventure to Thailand. Her first business was selling dried fruits. So she went out and met with farmers herself to buy some mangoes. Then she got in touch with some local processing factories to turn those mangoes into dried ones. It all seemed to be going well, but little did she know that the mangoes were rotting away in the warehouse just because the processing factories took a bit too long to start making the dried fruits. Standing in front of the warehouse and realizing there were only 20 boxes of finished products left, Wang Nuan Nuan felt like her world was falling apart. In the end, that business ended up costing her 220,000 yuan, which was pretty much all of her savings. Starting from scratch has always been a time filled with hardships. During those years, she never gave up and sacrificed almost all of her sleep time. During the day, she handled business, negotiated with clients, and arranged logistic channels. At night, she had to go to night school to learn Thai, and she could only manage to get 3 to 4 hours of sleep each day. She described herself during that time as a happy little engine, tired but very happy. Through hard work, diligence, and intelligence, Wang Nuan Nuan achieved financial independence before the age of 30 and began to lead a comfortable life. She established her own physical stores, guest houses, and a Chinese restaurant in Thailand, gaining some fame within the local Chinese community. She also founded a company in her hometown of Nanjing, so she could frequently returning to China to reunite with family and friends. During the process of creating her new business, many people would often tell her that girls shouldn't be, working too much. And her parents would advise her to come back home if she couldn't handle it. So her parents were really supportive, though they worried that their daughter would get burnt out with all these business stuff, right? But she wasn't about to let failure hold her back. She firmly believed that entrepreneurship wasn't just for guys and was dead set on forging her own way. She was like, yeah, gender equality is totally a thing. And there are so many women out there with their own dreams and goals. I mean, you gotta be financially independent before you can really love yourself and have the capacity to love others, After reaching a certain level of success in the career she had been chasing for so long, it seems that the feeling of being alone in a foreign country started to slowly get to Wang Nuan Nuan. So she felt super lonely and wanted to start a romantic relationship. Maybe it's just as she said, she had finally become financially independent, and now she was someone who had the ability to fall in love with someone else. On Sunday in May 2017, Wang Nuan Nuan was hanging out with a bunch of friends in Thailand. They all sat around the table having drinks and chatting. Wang Nuan Nuan was having a great time, not realizing that someone was staring at her. This dude was named Yu Xiao Dong. After taking a sip of his drink and feeling a warm sensation, he finally got the courage to approach Wang Nuan Nuan and sat down next to her. Wang Nuan Nuan looked at him with curiosity. The man seemed mature and had a noticeable interest in her. Once he sat down and locked eyes with Wang Nuan Nuan, he started talking nonstop. So, at first, Wang Nuan Nuan felt kind of awkward, because he was like a total stranger. But then, as the conversation went on and they found out that they were both from Nanjing, Jiangsu, China, they started to chillax a bit. So after the whole thing wrapped up, Yu Xiaodong and Wang Nuan Nuan swapped contacts. At this point, they weren't super close or anything. They were just connected through their social circles. 2 months later, Wang Nuan Nuan realized she had forgotten some important documents at her friend's place. And when she was getting a bit frustrated, Yu Xiaodong came to deliver her these important documents she needed right on time. When they first met, there was a little awkwardness between them at their friends' gathering. So this time, Yu Xiaodong didn't wait for Wang Nuan Nuan to figure out how to start the conversation. He just gave her the documents she needed. She quickly accepted and thanked him a lot. Then, Wang Nuan Nuan and Yu Xiaodong had a bit of a chat. Wang Nuan Nuan thought that Yu Xiaodong might have purposely given her the dogs as an opportunity to ask her out. After all, during their first meeting at the friends' gathering, she could tell that he was kinda interested in her. However, after giving her the dogs, he turned and left without suggesting a date, which was not what she expected. Wang Nuan Nuan found this a bit strange. However, upon thinking about it, she interpreted it as Yu Xiaodong being respectful of boundaries. It seemed like he was the type of person who was more reserved when it came to expressing his feelings. This made Wang Nuan Nuan even more attracted to him in an instant. Compared to other guys she had met who pursued aggressively without considering her feelings, Yu Xiaodong's reserved and subtle approach clearly appealed more to her. As a result of this encounter, the two of them started to chat a lot more. With social medias, of course. He would send WeChat message to Wang Nuan Nuan and ask her out for dinner frequently. He would also take every chance to show her that he was devoted, loyal, and disciplined. At the same time, he created an identity to prove that he was financially stable. He would also remember the tourist spots Wang Nuan Nuan mentioned casually, and quickly purchased tickets and booked hotels to bring her over as a surprise. Each day, he would bring her different breakfasts to demonstrate his love. A few weeks after they've been messaging each other, he sent Wang Nuan Nuan a heartfelt WeChat message that was hundreds of words long, in which he said something like, quoted, "Since I met you, it's not just about liking you and wanting to date you. I want to marry you and spend the rest of my life with you." These messages deeply touched Wang Nuan Nuan, and she accepted Yu Xiaodong. He quickly moved in with her, and they started living together. And that's only a dozen days after they've been messaging each other. It all moved really fast. For Wang Nuan Nuan at that time, she really wanted to be in a relationship, like I said, spending a long time in a foreign country. She went through the struggles of running business. To avoid worrying her parents, she always dealt with these challenges on her own. She had very few friends to talk to around her, and her friends back in her home country had become distant due to the distance. They were busy with their own work and lives. So all she needed was a boyfriend she could bitch to when she was pooped, and a guy to hold her down in a foreign land. Deep down, she desired a family and longed for love. Yu Xiaodong happened to come into her life. In just a few days, He confessed his feelings to Wang Nuan Nuan multiple times. Even though everything seemed to be moving too fast for Wang Nuan Nuan, she still accepted him and believed it was love. In July 2017, on Wang Nuan Nuan's 29th birthday, Yu Xiao Dong stopped her as she was about to go out and celebrate with friends and proposed once again. Wang Nuan Nuan's heart softened, and she vaguely pushed him away, saying, "Let's talk about this later when I come back." Yu Xiaodong took this as her agreement and quickly bought 2 plane tickets for the two to go back to Wang Nuan Nuan's hometown, Nanjing, the next day. A few days later, they got registered for marriage in Nanjing, China. You and I, from our all-knowing perspective, should both feel that there's something odd about this super fast relationship. Well, not sure about you, but I do. Everything had moved too quickly, and Yu Xiaodong had seemed a bit too perfect to be true. Who was Yu Xiaodong exactly? Not only had his past, family, and career been unclear to us, but it had appeared that Wang Nuan Nuan herself had only known a little about him. In her hormone-filled state, marrying someone like him had been like taking a risk. If she had won, all would have been fine. If she had lost, things would have gone downhill. Wang Nuan Nuan, being a successful businesswoman, had thought that she had been willingly participate in this gamble. Looking back now on her marriage to Yu Xiaodong, there were many things that didn't seem to add up. At the time, Wang Nuan Nuan, lost in love, kinda overlooked everything. She said, quoted, "Business relied on intelligence, but relationships relied on trust. I made a decision to marry him so that I wouldn't place doubt on him." Before getting married, Yu Xiaodong casually mentioned that he had lived for a long time in a place without sunlight. Wang Nuan Nuan instinctively asked if he had been in prison. He just looked at her, all cool and calm, and asked in response, "Did you think I seem like someone who would commit crimes?" While with a body covered in tattoo, we are not judging though, he did look a bit suspicious with all of his mysterious past. I bet the dude somehow felt that Wang Nuan Nuan was having a bit of a doubt on him. To regain her trust, he confessed a bit of his past. He said that he was dragged down by a friend, so he ended up in jail for 8 years. He also had an unhappy previous marriage, and after the divorce, his ex-wife got custody of their child. Wang Nuan Nuan didn't see him differently. But I will. If, say, my partner confessed something like this to me, I'd backcheck the shit out of him, especially if I were as rich as Wang Nuan Nuan. What would you do in situations like this? You knew nothing about him, and all of a sudden he spilled out he was in jail before, and he had a previous marriage, and even got a kid. In fact, Wang Nuan Nuan was touched by his honesty. That's beyond me. Even though there was a big difference in their financial situations, Wang Nuan Nuan didn't mind. After they got married, Yu Xiaodong delayed the wedding ceremony because of financial difficulties. Well, that's what he claimed. He hoped that Wang Nuan Nuan wouldn't mention their marriage to her parents and just say that they were in a relationship. The reason was that he felt his job wasn't stable and his business venture had failed. He wanted to get better before she introduced him as her husband. And I found that's very contradictory, his reaction. If a person truly loves another person and successfully proposed, most people would want to announce it to the whole world and have all their relatives and friends know about it and acknowledge their relationships. Moreover, someone who knows about the economic disparity between the two but still doesn't mind being together wholeheartedly, how couldn't become self-conscious about it after only getting married? Anyway, after a quick 2-month marriage, Wang Nuan Nuan also had some concerns, but Yu Xiaodong's sincere behavior made her choose to close her eyes and believe in him. After getting married, Wang Nuan Nuan and her husband lived in Nanjing for a period of time. Yu Xiao Dong often picked up Wang Nuan Nuan after work and showed great care for her, both in public and private. Everyone had a good impression of him, often commenting that he was very nice, almost flawless. Wang Nuan Nuan thought she had found her lifetime love. But a relationship with ulterior motives will eventually reveal its true color. Problems began to appear in the second month after the marriage due to the classic issue of money. So at first, Wang Nuan Nuan gave Yu Xiao Dong 20,000 Chinese yuan as pocket money every month. However, Yu Xiao Dong thought it wasn't really cutting it, so he kind of started borrowing from Wang Nuan Nuan. Wang Nuan Nuan might be pretty inexperienced when it comes to love, but she was actually quite accomplished as a businesswoman. So when money issues came up in their relationship, Wang Nuan Nuan naturally stood her ground. She had a natural knack for budgeting and handling finances, which she followed through with, and she wasn't about to let anyone easily overstep her boundaries. This principle of hers, even though it caused a lot of problems in an incompatible relationship, would eventually pave the way for her to break free from predicament. After Wang Nuan Nuan repeatedly rejected his request to spend more money each month, Yu Xiao Dong started borrowing money in her name from her friends and neighbors. Over time, the amount accumulated to hundreds of thousands, and it started from just a few thousand initially. The conflicts over money turned into endless quarrels. Wang Nuan Nuan had provided nearly all of her resources to Yu Xiao Dong, hoping that her husband could improve himself, find something to do, and gain a sense of achievement. However, Yu Xiao Dong became increasingly idle. Remember I said that Wang Nuan Nuan was running a Chinese restaurant in Thailand? Since she felt that her husband was losing focus in the business sector, she believed that she could assist him in starting something new, right? So she asked her husband to manage this Chinese restaurant. Yu Xiao Dong thought there were way too many boring stuff and said no. When she tried to help him find a job, he would rather stay home and play video games. In 2018, when Wang Nuan Nuan decided to shift focus on her business and moved her company back to Nanjing, China, her hometown, Yu Xiao Dong started spending every single day playing video games at the office. When Wang Nuan Nuan got sick, unlike before their marriage, Yu Xiao Dong didn't care at all. During that time, Wang Nuan Nuan's parents would often visit their daughter's company to check out on her, right? When they saw how Yu Xiao Dong was treating their daughter, they would naturally advise their daughter to break up with this boyfriend. Wang Nuan Nuan was too scared to tell her parents that they were already married legally. Later on, when the parents found out about the truth, they pushed their daughter to get a divorce, even going as far as threatening to cut off their relationship as mother and child. But they still couldn't separate the two of them. You see, it's not just us listeners who felt something was wrong with their relationship. Wang Nuan Nuan's parents also thought there were big issues. It's just that Wang Nuan Nuan was really love-struck. People who are deeply immersed in a whirlpool of emotions can hardly be awakened. Wang Nuan Nuan was a woman who did not give up easily, be it her career or love life. She was holding in her breath, unwilling to accept having a failed marriage. She confessed once that, quoted, "I've put in so much time, energy, and money, all of which will be wasted if we get a divorce. It's like I'm the gambler, unable to leave the table." Witnessing many people going through divorces did not shake Wang Nuan Nuan's resolves. On the contrary, when her stubborn side surfaced, she would think she had endured so many hardships in business, cooperated pleasantly with many difficult clients. She did not believe she could not change her husband. Quoted, "Don't get divorced unless there is absolutely no other choice," she told herself. Wang Nuan Nuan totally underestimated Yu Xiao Dong. Sometimes people are easily influenced by their own emotions and can deceive themselves. Not only did Yu Xiao Dong gamble online, but he even flew to Macau to gamble. While Macau was known as the city of gambling in China. After they started living together, Yu Xiao Dong would often get calls from debt collectors, with the amount starting from hundreds of thousands and eventually reaching over 3 million Chinese yuan. He asked Wang Nuan Nuan to help him pay off the debts, threatened now that they were married, these debts would lie on his shoulders as well. Wang Nuan Nuan continued to believe whatever her husband said and was willing to help him as long as he stopped gambling. After paying off his massive gambling debts, Wang Nuan Nuan seemed to see a change in Yu Xiao Dong. He started getting into the nitty-gritty of the company's management and operations, and actually began actively participating in Wang Nuan Nuan's business. But then, one fine day in late autumn, he just vanished into thin air. Like any other good days, Yu Xiaodong made breakfast for Wang Nuan Nuan before heading out. He mentioned he had some clients to meet, but when Wang Nuan Nuan finished her work and came back home, she was totally shocked to find her husband was nowhere to be found. She tried calling him multiple times, but couldn't get through. And when she grew anxious, her accountant gave her a call. Her accountant told her there was an expenditure of 5 million Chinese yuan on the books. After checking with the bank, Wang Nuan Nuan found out the sum was taken by her husband in one go with both of their ID cards, marriage certificate, and passwords. Technically, I don't know how is it even possible that someone can withdraw a big chunk of money like this. But different laws, different ages, I guess. And she said it to many media outlets, but no one stood up against it. So I believe it actually happened that you could literally get money like this in the past. Wang Nuan Nuan felt betrayed. Quoted, "It's really tough for me to put into words how messed up and disrespected I felt," she said. Wang Nuan Nuan decided to reach out to the police. 7 days later, when the police finally located Yu Xiao Dong, he had already blown off 5 million Chinese yuan in gambling. You think Wang Nuan Nuan would definitely break up with him this round. As now he stole from her, that should count as crossing the line. He was like, "Man, because I was locked up before, I wasted my precious youth. I ain't trying to hustle hard during the little youth I got left. I want a better life so I can just chill and enjoy, you know." He was telling her how his dad had it easy, living a good life while his mom took care of the money and supported the family. He was like, "Quoted, that's what real love is, my girl. If you want me to get a job, it's like you don't even love me no more." When Wang Nuan Nuan met him at the police station, he straight up grabbed onto her legs, crying and begging for forgiveness. Wang Nuan Nuan was feeling so helpless, like, quoted, "Damn, I had this mix of love and hate for him. We were just there, holding on to each other, crying our eyes out." Yup, she still didn't leave him. Despite his shameless remarks about his parents, and he literally stole from her. Time rolled around to April 2019, and Wang Nuan Nuan accidentally got knocked up. She figured maybe having a kid could shake things up in their relationship. When Yu Xiaodong found out, he just casually said, "If you want to keep it, go ahead. If you don't, get rid of it." However, a few days later, Yu Xiaodong's attitude completely changed to the opposite. He started being caring again and started taking care of Wang Nuan Nuan's feelings. She believed that it was all because of the baby, and that Yu Xiaodong had finally come to his senses. She missed one little detail. On the 10th day of her pregnancy, he went and got an insurance for Wang Nuan Nuan, with himself as the one cashing in. Wang Nuan Nuan took it as a sign that her hubby was feeling guilty, thinking he was showing some responsibility. She had no idea she was already teetering on the edge of a massive pit. Taem National Park is famous for its stunning sunrises. In the early mornings when the sun is shining down, the distant mountains and meandering Mekong River are super charming. Many visitors who come here choose to climb this 34-meter high cliff in the early morning because it's the best spot to catch the sunrise. On the morning of the 9th of June 2019, Wang Nuan Nuan tagged along with Yu Xiao Dong on a spontaneous trip. Yu Xiao Dong randomly suggested the idea of taking Wang Nuan Nuan on a trip on the 1st of June, mentioning that he wanted to go to this Taem National Park because he heard that the sunrises there were amazing. 2 days later, Yu Xiaodong changed the plan to Chiang Mai, and on the way back to Bangkok, he once again changed the plan to this national park. On the morning of the 9th of June, the clouds were very thick that day. They waited until after 8 o'clock in the morning, but still did not see the sunrise. The other tourists around them had gradually left, and Yu Xiaodong suggested taking Wang Nuan Nuan to see these 3,000-year-old cave paintings nearby. So they walked along the cliff edge all the way to the end without even seeing any paintings. On their way back, Yu Xiaodong suddenly asked Wang Nuan Nuan if she had any regrets in life. Wang Nuan Nuan thought about it and said no, because at the time, she believed that she had finally gotten a baby. Her husband was improving and she was financially stable. She felt it was perfect. She wanted a simple life like that. Yu Xiaodong then hugged Wang Nuan Nuan from behind, kissed her cheek, but viciously said, "Go die." He pushed Wang Nuan Nuan off this 34-meter high cliff. That's more or less equal to a 11th-floor building. After 1 hour later, Wang Nuan Nuan woke up from the falling. She knew she was lying in the rocks and she couldn't move. She could feel that she was heavily bleeding. She remembered exactly how it all happened. She went to cry for help, but her throat was dry and her voice hoarse. As she laid at the bottom of the cliff, she felt utterly helpless. Yet she was still carrying her child. So many thoughts were racing through her mind until, miraculously, a passing tourist stumbled upon her in that hardly ever visited forest. Wang Nuan Nuan was finally rescued. However, after being rescued and sent to the hospital, she still had not completely escaped danger. When she was sent to the hospital, the nurses called her husband in, but the man didn't dare to go near her. Yu Xiaodong never expected Wang Nuan Nuan would still be alive. He only dared to look at her from afar, then frozen for a moment, and began to act on his own. Yu Xiaodong acted very sad, shouting loudly, "Wifey, where did you go?" Wang Nuan Nuan wanted to yell out of the truth, but she couldn't speak. Yu Xiaodong murmured to her ears, "Hey, listen up. You better keep your mouth shut, or there's gonna be consequences. You know what I meant." The next day, Wang Nuan Nuan was in the ICU, with Yu Xiaodong keeping an eye on her around the clock, although it was more like just watching her. He even attempted the crazy idea of sending Wang Nuan Nuan home from the hospital despite her serious injuries, and started taking off the medical gadgets attached to her. Luckily, the nurses intervened and stopped him. On the third day, the cops showed up, but with Yu Xiaodong always sticking around. Wang Nuan Nuan had to tell them that she had tripped on her own. On the fourth day, since Wang Nuan Nuan had already informed the police the day before that it was an accident, she sadly pleaded with Yu Xiaodong to allow her to reach out for a friend they both knew. The friend quickly flew from China to Thailand overnight. It could be that Yu Xiaodong thought, it's all sad because she already told the police that it was an accident, so he agreed to let her call this friend. The friend quickly flew from China to Thailand overnight, and even with Yu Xiaodong there, understood Wang Nuan Nuan's subtle signals. So they joined forces secretly. Wang Nuan Nuan took the opportunity to start an argument with Yu Xiao Dong and recorded his confession of pushing her off the cliff. So this recording was the only solid proof to identify Yu Xiao Dong's crime later on. On the 5th day, in the morning, Yu Xiao Dong unusually went out to grab some breakfast, leaving only Wang Nuan Nuan all by herself in the ward. Her doctor dropped by right in time when Yu Xiao Dong wasn't around for a private chat. She took the chance to spill the beans about the fall from the cliff, that it wasn't an accident. The no longer head over heels, Wang Nuan Nuan showed her smarts by not telling the culprit straight away to the doctor, but instead requesting to be moved to a public ward as soon as possible. She also told the doctor that she hoped the doctor will respect her privacy and keep their private conversation under wraps from her partner. On the 6th day, guess what happened? She finally got her wish and was moved to a public ward. Now, with other patients around, visitors were only allowed to see patients during certain hours. And guess what Wang Nuan Nuan did as soon as she had some time away from Yu Xiao Dong? Yep, she immediately called the police. On the 7th day, the cops showed up undercover when Yu Xiao Dong wasn't around and spent the entire day getting Wang Nuan Nuan's side of the story. Wang Nuan Nuan told all the details to the police and handed over the recording. When they left, the Thai cops promised Wang Nuan Nuan they hustled to get an arrest warrant for Yu Xiao Dong ASAP. And boy, were they quick. The very next day, the police slapped the cuffs on Yu Xiao Dong. That's when Wang Nuan Nuan finally got away from the deal for real. During her time in the hospital, Wang Nuan Nuan found out something even more devastating. Turns out her first encounter with Yu Xiao Dong was all part of a well-planned scam. The real reason Yu Xiao Dong came to Thailand was to escape his massive debts. He had borrowed a ton of money through online lending in China and had no choice but to run away to Thailand. When he was there, he dated several girlfriends, but all of those relationships ended when they couldn't provide him with the resource he needed. With his debts piling up, he started looking for rich Chinese women in Thailand, and that's when he set his sights on Wang Nuan Nuan. Yu Xiaodong was born in Jiangyin, Jiangsu. Not even Nanjing, where he first introduced himself to Wang Nuan Nuan. Although Jiangyin and Nanjing are very close to each other geographically. His mom worked in sales at a local company, and she extremely spoiled her son. In middle school, Yu Xiaodong used to get into fights and brawls for money. At 14, he got fined 200 Chinese yuan for stealing. At 16, he got locked up for 15 days for starting fights and causing trouble. At 17, he got a 12-year sentence for stealing and robbing. When he finally got out of jail in 2014, he was already 25 years old. His mom hooked him up with a bunch of jobs, but Yu Xiaodong never stuck with any of them. Instead, he lived off this 1.2 million Chinese yuan that his mom had saved up over 8 years. He splurged on clothes and stuff he needed for the day. What's even more messed up is that he eventually got into gambling. He blew through his family's savings real quick and ended up with massive debts. After the incident, in the midst of enduring immense physical pain, Wang Nuan Nuan took Yu Xiaodong to court. The Thai court gave Yu Xiaodong a life sentence in the first trial. Yu Xiaodong appealed, and in the second trial, the sentence was reduced to 10 years in prison because there was no physical evidence to prove that Yu Xiaodong had planned to murder. When Wang Nuan Nuan heard this, she broke down for 3 days and had to be hospitalized again. Finally, on the 2nd of June 2023, after more than 3 years of trials, and Wang Nuan Nuan's determination in pursuing the lawsuit, the Thai Supreme Court sentenced Yu Xiao Dong to 33 years and 4 months in prison. Wang Nuan Nuan let out a sigh of relief. She posted on social media that all she wanted was for Yu Xiaodong to face the consequences, and she thanked the court for handling the case. But this isn't the end of the story. What's more important to Wang Nuan Nuan than the bad guy getting what he deserves is that she has found her strength again. After falling down the cliff in 2019, Wang Nuan Nuan ended up with a whopping 17 bone fractures all over her body. She had to get over 200 stitches and depended on hundreds of steel nails to keep herself together, sleeping and eating like a regular person. Forget about that. Initially, because the doctors were only focused on saving her life, she was forced to terminate her pregnancy. During her treatment, in addition to enduring immense physical pain, she also had to deal with the lawsuit against Yu Xiaodong. While living in the hospital, she discussed the details over the phone with her lawyer. Even in a wheelchair, she insisted on going to court to confront Yu Xiaodong in person. Over the past 3 years, she had undergone more than 8 surgeries. Many bones that were not properly set initially would then require additional surgeries to fix since she was back in China. At first, no hospital in Nanjing was willing to take on Wang Nuan Nuan's case, thinking it was helpless. But Wang Nuan Nuan kept trying different orthopedic, exploring different rehabilitation options. For more than 3 years, she went through numerous breakdowns. At her lowest point, she would break down multiple times a day when she realized she couldn't even sit up, a simple thing that most people don't even think twice about, especially at her age. Quoted, "I just couldn't do it even though my brain told me to. My body would refuse. I would cry nonstop and didn't know what to do," she remembers. After crying, she would wipe her tears and insist on eating, participating in those simple movements over and over again. In early 2023, she shared a video on a short video platform capturing the moment she finally got up, with pure happiness and determination in her eyes. Wang Nuan Nuan finally stood up. Today, with the final verdict in her case, Wang Nuan Nuan can finally get a divorce. Before this, despite these messed up situations, she couldn't go through with the divorce. Legally, Yu Xiaodong was still her husband. Quoted, "The criminal case wasn't even done yet, so the civil case couldn't move forward. My divorce is connected to the criminal case, so the outcome of that case played a major role." The process was pretty long, but Wang Nuan Nuan didn't give up anyway. Her lawyer still remembers that during their first meeting, when she offered to give her a ride in her car, she said no. She relied on her own determination, took a taxi to her office, switched from wheelchair to crutches, and stumbled into the conference room to have a chat with her. In court, she never shed tears, only getting emotional once when mentioning her child. That was her weak point. Now that Yu Xiaodong has received this appropriate punishment, Wang Nuan Nuan says she doesn't want to dwell on the past anymore. She still has a long journey ahead and will live life to the fullest, aiming to recover as soon as possible. Maybe she now sees life from a broader perspective than many people. She doesn't want to become a cautionary tale of "don't get married." The issue was not love or marriage, but rather deception and betrayal. She still yearns for love and is filled with it. The difference is that this love is not limited to romantic love alone. Though the world may wound her deeply, she sings on undaunted. Hey, if you're going through a tough time too, hang in there. Just keep pushing yourself, and I'm sure you will achieve your own success. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you find my video is fun to watch. And I will see you in my next video. Bye. And I am so not used to the bang that I just got literally right before the filming. But I look younger with it, am I?